o'clock, and we'll call the Barron County Board of Supervisors for Tuesday, April 18th, 2023 into order and have roll call. Means you want to hit your green button.
Gary, I know you're virtual, but we're still waiting on you to mark yourself as present.
We can't hear you, Gary. I don't know if you got it on mute. Oh, yeah. You just tipped over, Gary. There, you're back to right. We can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, he can hear us. Who isn't?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, let me trying different things here.
You're loud
And
clear, Gary.
Is
What's
Craig,
that?
Craig, have you signed in?
You're loud and clear, Gary.
Okay,
Is Craig on?
I'm trying
Okay.
to sign in. Am I supposed to press something else?
Is he present, Jess? Is Dick Gary Taxtall in? No.
No, I keep getting the message. So we're sorry we're not able to connect.
You have it
I
set
don't
to
know.
you have it set to remote, correct, Gary? Not local.
Yes, I do.
Are you using
Yes, I do.
using your phone or your Chromebook?
I'm using my phone.
Could you maybe switch your Wi-Fi to off and use cell connection
Casey's
instead?
absent, Gary Taxtell's absent, and then Bob Anderson's absent.
Okay.
So they're getting Bob
Could I-
on.
Okay,
Gary's we're
so-
working on. Stacy, I didn't
Okay.
hear that she wasn't coming, but
Okay, so
so
stay.
you're good.
Okay.
You want me to do what now? Turn off my
Wi-Fi,
what?
Wi-Fi, and use the cellular connection. Just see if that works.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Oh,
You're gonna stay who's absent?
oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, Craig's here.
All right, let me,
Bob Anderson's having trouble.
Go change your password.
Stacy and Gary. Right.
You got crank this.
I don't see her here either.
mhm.
It's gonna be he's gotta put a different password in.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. Did you get a new
I
computer?
still-
No,
Oh,
What happened?
just locked up.
Logged in too many times.
I still can't, did I change it to connect locally or what?
Lance had to step out. Here he comes.
Okay,
Just do it to remote, Gary.
yeah, I'm on connected remotely.
And then
And
when
it's as remote, but I disconnected my my Wi-Fi because we're in Capistrano, California, so I'm using our condo one. So I disconnected that, and I should be on my hotspot. I think.
yeah, if you're on your hotspot, that is your Wi-Fi though. Then so you have to turn your Wi-Fi back on.
Oh, okay. So what if it's unsecure? Then I can't do anything.
You still should be able to connect.
All right, let me try doing that. Hold on a second here.
Should I just pull it? Okay.
Wait a minute, wait, yeah, I'll delete that. All right, I'll connect with my Wi-Fi again. Unsecured network.
We've sent this agenda.
Okay, I tried signing in again.
Get ready.
Yeah, I just, did I switch?
This is human error, not animal error.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna switch back. I went connect locally. See if that works. I don't know.
Did he say it's working? Is that what I heard?
No, it's not working.
Still
Nope.
not working?
No, let me, I switched back and forth to connect remotely.
Can you try to use your Chromebook, Gary? Because I know we got the app on there. Can we try to use that?
Yeah, guess what? I forgot it in Arizona. I'm on my phone. That's why I wish I had my Chromebook, but I forgot it when we left.
By Robert's Rules of Order, the meeting.
Can we proceed without him?
If he's not on,
Yeah.
it's kind of.
Can we, Louis, can we proceed without him?
We can, but we're also waiting for Bob Anderson. He had to get a new password on his too.
Should I click on custom port or custom timeout or local intro?
No, we had it set to
Okay.
local and remote, so remote should be all you need, and then press sign
All
in.
right. All right. I have, port settings, use default, connect timeout, use default. Internet requirement, require internet. I got that. Yeah, it's not.
When Bob gets home.
Yeah. Can she put this? Can she put that in manually since I'm online or not?
Can you vote him manually? Why don't we do that, Gary? We'll vote you manually.
Okay, so you can put me in manually too, then, right?
Yeah. Okay. Bob's in. You are now. Okay. Gary, we're just gonna have him vote manually, so you want to tell
Okay.
us where we're at, Stace? Or Jess, I mean, geez. Okay. The only absent is Stacy Newman, and we'll have Gary Taxtall vote manually. So we're on to public notification.
Wendy Coleman, my executive assistant, has complied with Wisconsin open meeting requirements. Meeting agendas have been posted on electronic meeting notice boards located on the first and second floor of the Government Center and the first floor of the Justice Center. Hard copy of the meeting agenda has been posted in the county clerk's office, and she has verified the proper posting of this meeting. This is the Barron County Board of Supervisors for April. This was posted April 12th at 3:39 p.m.
Police Chaplain Cody Cargus will lead us in the invocation.
You would join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you, we do thank you for this time to be together. I pray your hand would be on this meeting. And we thank you for this past week that we have been able to see true heroes lay down their lives to stop pure evil. And Lord, we ask that you would be with their families as they continue to grieve, as they continue to suffer through this. We pray for our county, that we would be a county that is Barron strong by loving and is Barron strong by caring. We also pray for our law enforcement who are on the streets today, tonight, be with their spouses as they worry, as we worry. They are doing their job they've been called to do, and we thank you for that. Lord, your presence truly benefit during this time. We thank you.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, if we could have a moment of silence for our two fallen officers and also include the deputy from Minnesota.
Thank you. Chris Fitzgerald would like to say a few words.
I just wanted to come up and say thank you for the support Mr. French has given our department this week. All of you have reached out in some way, shape, or form. Every department head had a role that played in this, even though it was a law enforcement event. You know, I reached out to Jeff about 45 minutes after the incident. He immediately went to dispatch. I reached out to Mark Servey. He immediately had a crew on scene. Stacy had her team there, Veterans Office. I mean, you name it. Every department head had a role in this. And it's because of all of you that we were able to do what we did this week. So I want to say thank you for allowing us to be who we are. So it's been tough. We've been Barron County strong, as Cody said, because we care. And all of you care. You've allowed me to build the department we've built. And then, not that we wanted to show the world how we are again, but we got to on Saturday. And we couldn't have done that without all of you allowing us to do what we do. So on behalf of the Sheriff's Department, I want to thank Mr. French personally for his role that he played this week. So thank you, Jeff.
Chris, I'd like to thank you and your Sheriff's Department. You've made Barron County really a great place to work and live because of how you handle it. And I think the rest of the country respects what you do in your department. So thank you. Number 4, special matters and announcements. Okay, just what was in the agenda, what was on your memo. Okay. Okay, item number 5. I'd like to approve the agenda, but we will not, item number 25, the closed session, we will not need that. So I'd like to have an approval of the agenda with number 25 deleted. Motion by Supervisor Heller, seconded by Supervisor Olson. Is there any concerns or initial discussion? Not, let's all vote. Okay, Gary's voting yes. Okay, that passed by a 28-0 vote with 1 absent. Next item, approve the number 6, approve the minutes of the March 20th, 2023. Motion by Supervisor Banks, seconded by Supervisor Thompson. Any concerns with the minutes? Not, let's vote. That again passed by 28-0 with 1 absent. Item number 7, public comment. We have 2 of them. The first one was Heidi Weiss, and would you step up and state your name and your address? Thank you.
Heidi Wise, 746 21st Street in Chautauqua. Good morning. I am here in support of the board's clearly stated goal to remain nonpartisan in county operations and decisions. And I wanted to highlight a couple of places where I have noticed that where maybe the board needs to take action to close gaps between that stated goal and where you are today. The first one is with the county's mission, and another one is with the public health department. So I saw in the materials for today's meeting, the mission of Barron County is to enhance life by providing services in a fiscally progressive manner. And that progressive word was one that I thought, that's kind of interesting. That doesn't seem nonpartisan. I decided to look up a definition of fiscally progressive, and the first one that popped up when I did a search was fiscal progressivism is a political and economic philosophy incorporating the socioeconomic principles of social democrats and political progressives. That sounds partisan to me. I would strongly urge that the board consider other language in the mission. One or two words that I would offer up would be fiscally responsible. It's neither conservative nor progressive, but responsible. So something to consider for the mission. Now, with regard to the public health, I have been looking at their Facebook page and noticing several posts that look highly partisan. The first on April 5th, the words say, everyone deserves access to safe, quality reproductive health care. As a Christian, I do believe that every one of us is made in the image of God, and with that comes inherent worth and dignity. That does not extend to everyone deserving access to others' resources. So that is clearly a partisan statement. And then also the image that was used with it, on the image is prominently displayed an LGBTQ flag. That is clearly partisan. On another post on April 4th, it was about violence and violence prevention. While I agree with the words, I noticed that the post had a number of protesters masked, holding up hands, holding a sign, which kind of took me back to the protests of 2020, which were highly partisan, highly violent, billions of dollars worth of damage, and the death of a number of people, including several peace officers. And finally, the booth that is held at UW-ECBC with lollipop condoms and necklaces and no information about abstinence. Again, highly partisan in our operations. I urge you to consider that these things need to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Second person is our Senator Romaine Quinn.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's a rare occasion I get to speak to you because I'm usually in Madison, but I got the morning off, so I got to join you. So good to see everyone. I haven't seen you since your election, so again, thank you all for serving. I know you're in it for the money, but appreciate your willingness to step up. That was a joke. I just wanted to give you a quick update on where we're at. We're in the middle of the budget process, and obviously everything you do revolves around dollars. So the legislature for some time has been working on a new plan to revamp shared revenue in the state. We know shared revenue has been around for a long time. The formula is broken, unfortunately, and the way it is just the way it is, and there's no changing it. So going forward, we're making a couple of tweaks. Any new monies are going to come down to the counties and municipalities based on new formulas developed by your own associations. So we've been working in conjunction with the Towns Association, the Counties Association, and the League of Municipalities to make sure any new funding coming from the state goes through a formula that actually makes sense. I know I sat down with Administrator French and we broke down what Barron County gets versus Milwaukee. You don't want to know the numbers. It's not good. But going forward, with that, if Romaine gets his plan, which we'll wait and see, the legislature's plan right now would mean another $497,000 for just Barron County. I think you get about 1.15 million now, and so that's roughly a 43% increase. Now, again, that's just Barron County. Each township, municipality, village will also get a different slated number based on their respective formulas. So we're really confident that those numbers should stay. I don't foresee any issues with the governor on this, and so hopefully we can see those numbers going forward as you make your plans. The budget should be done by July 1st if everything goes well. I'm not going to hold my breath, but we should be on time the way things are going. We're also, I just see your agenda, we're working on a number of other items. I know DA Brian Wright is going to talk about his staffing. We're looking at boosting pay for our ADAs. We can't continue to expect people coming out of law school doing some of the most important work in our justice system for $24, $25 an hour coming out of law school. So working on a number of issues. I hope any of you, if you have any questions going forward, please reach out. Our office is always open, happy to participate in dialogue. And on the shared revenue portion, before I end, we're tying it to future sales tax growth. So right now, we know it's tied to net new construction, and there may be some growth that you've seen at the county level, but a lot of your townships and municipalities don't see anything. I think Ashland County got $700 last year. So the idea of net new construction was great for areas that grow, but we don't always grow. So the new monies going forward will be indexed to the sales tax. We know the sales tax grows on average between 2 and 3% over the last 20 years. And so you will see a 2 to 3% bump if all goes normal ongoing. So you'll see some not just flat revenue, but new growth as well. So thank you for your time. It's good to see you all.
Thank you, Senator, for all your work on the shared revenue. Item number 8, the proclamation recognize.
Hey, Louis, I
Yes.
would like to make I would like to make the motion on that proclamation since that's in my district. And I invite everyone to help celebrate Turtle Lake and their 125th years as an incorporated village.
Gary, thank you for your kind words. There will not be a motion on it, but thanks for stating what you did. Actually, there is a motion, Gary. You're right again. There is a motion. Okay, item number 8, proclamation recognizing the Village of Turtle Lakes Quincentennial. Is that right, or Jeff? All right. Jeff, would you like to read that proclamation?
Barron County Proclamation 23-1, a proclamation recognizing the Village of Turtle Lakes 125th year celebration. I'm bypassing the big word. Whereas 125 years ago, the area known as the Village of Turtle Lake had vast hardwood and pine forests and was originally referred to as Shohagan. And whereas Shohagan started out with the Stephen Richardson Sawmill and the Knapp Stout Lumber Company logging camps on the upper and lower Turtle Lake, it became a busy train depot for the Omaha, Chicago, Northwestern, and Sioux Line Railroad companies, and grew with the addition of a general store, a post office, a blacksmith, a doctor, a drugstore, and more. And whereas J. Bunker and F. Wickenburg and S.F. Richardson decided in 1895 that as the area known as Sheboygan grew, it should be incorporated as the Village of Turtle Lake, possibly due to the many turtles seen by the surveyors. Judge A. Verge approved the incorporation on May 17th of 1898, and the first officers of the Village of Turtle Lake were chosen. And whereas the Village of Turtle Lake has continued its population and business growth in Barron County since 1898 and has provided many jobs for residents in the general area in education, farming, manufacturing, restaurants, services, entertainment, etc. And whereas the Village of Turtle Lake has and will be celebrating its quacentennial through 2023 with various organizations planning special events this year, and the County of Barron desires to recognize this historical event and to extend its congratulations to the Village of Turtle Lake. And whereas the County of Barron further extends its sincere gratitude to the Village of Turtle Lake's organization for all their hard work and planning of several different celebrations to be enjoyed by many in 2023. And now therefore be it resolved that I, Louis W. Oakey, County Board Chair, by the power vested in me in the state of Wisconsin and the Barron County Board of Supervisors, do hereby pay tribute to the Village of Turtle Lake and commend all those who have worked for the betterment of the village over the past 125 years and in the years to come. And be it further resolved that the Barron County Board of Supervisors duly assembled on 18th of April 2023 extends its deepest appreciation and respect for the Village of Turtle Lake and its 125 years of existence. And be it further resolved that this proclamation be spread upon the permanent minutes of this body and that copies of this proclamation be distributed as deemed appropriate and necessary by County Clerk Jessica L. Hogadek, offered this this should be the 18th day of April 2023, Louis W. Oakey.
Okay, we've got a motion by Supervisor Taxtall and a second by Supervisor Bob Anderson to approve this proclamation. Is there any discussion? Not, let's vote.
Thank you.
Gary's thumbs up. Okay, that passed 28-0 with one absent. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to introduce some of the people from Turtle Lake that have made this happen. If you would all stand, please, and come and introduce yourself. The first two ladies I know, Allison, I've worked with her, works for the library, and Carol, I've got to meet. This gentleman on the end, I know him because he serves on our Aging ADRC board, and that's his wife. So please come up, introduce yourselves, and say hi. They only shoot every third person. So.
Perfect.
You're
Perfect.
Just one of you goes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Allison Lutz. I'm the library director at the Turtle Lake Public Library. So we got a bunch of cool things planned, working with all the different groups in Turtle Lake for the 125th. So it's very exciting to be part of it. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Carol Knoll, and I am a resident of Turtle Lake that went to school there all 12 years, so I'm very familiar with the Turtle Lake area. I am currently a member of the Venture Downtown Committee, which is a committee of the Turtle Lake Chamber of Commerce. Have worked with Jeff on this proclamation for the past several weeks with the assistance of some people from the museum that you will meet here shortly. We have planned all kinds of events throughout the year, and we already are through some of them, and we will continue to celebrate this wonderful event for our 125th anniversary. Thank you.
You could be next. They're going to shoot this. Hi, I'm Diane Skrupke from Turtle Lake. I didn't grow up there, but I married somebody who did, and I am on the museum committee and also on the library board. So I'm on all the committees and have to help with all the events. So I'll let David tell more.
Boy, talk about getting thrown under the bus. I'm Dave Skrupke. I'm a lifelong resident. The only time I really left was to go to college and a year of work. But otherwise, I've been in Turtle Lake all my life, and a lot of interesting things have happened over 125 years plus, and we're trying to just remind people of those things or educate them about things that they never knew existed. So Turtle Lake is a lot more interesting than a lot of people may have thought, and as a part of the museum, we're just trying to educate people about that and to instill, some pride and hopefully some participation to make Turtle Lake a better place than it already is. So thanks.
Thank you. Would you like to begin your update?
Yes, thank you, Louis.
All right, Brian.
I would like to thank the county board. It was about a year ago that I got word that one of our prosecutors, Assistant District Attorney Rafa Todd, had been deployed through the reserves, the military reserves overseas for a period of a year. And he was deployed to Qatar. We knew that. So the county board approved financing to bring in another prosecutor to fill in for Assistant District Attorney Rafa Todd during his year-long deployment. As it turned out, I had had several inquiries about somebody coming to Barron County to help over that year period. We didn't find anybody who I felt was a good fit. Primarily, we needed somebody that could be here in person and on an essentially daily basis. And so while we did not fill that position, the support that the county board gave really meant a great deal to my office in the work that we did over that year period while Rafa Todd was deployed. We were able to keep our work going and prosecute our cases with 3 prosecutors. We are allocated through the state 4 prosecutors. So I'm happy to say Rafa Todd returned about 3 weeks ago from his overseas deployment. And so we are now back to being fully staffed. We have 4 prosecutors in our office. And that is really a need that we have, because the fact is, when the state does their allocations, we could be up to 6 prosecutors very easily, but we'll make do quite well with the 4 prosecutors that we have. We have 4 excellent prosecutors prosecuting cases that are referred by our law enforcement agencies. I just wanted to thank you, because I think Cody over this last week had said quite a bit, certainly at the service, that struck home to me. And that was how, as a community, we've all come together. And to know that the county board had our backs, was willing to support us financially over that year period, just meant a great deal, not only to the prosecutors, the attorneys in our office, but also to our staff. And so I just wanted to come and personally thank you, Louis, thank all of you as county board supervisors for that support.
Thank you, Brian, and all the excellent work your department does. We appreciate it. Thank you. Item number 10, presentation on the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire at Barron County by Abby Fisher, the campus director. Welcome, Abby.
Good morning. Thank you. So while the presentation, while we get the presentation up, I'm Abby Fisher. I've been campus director at UW-Eau Claire Barron County since January. However, I've been on campus since the fall of 16 when my wife and I moved here, and I taught chemistry for however many years that is, from 16 to whatever year we're in now. So I've been at Barron County since 16, but campus director since just January, and I'm excited today to be here, and I'm very thankful for this opportunity to be able to share the good news from UW-Eau Claire Barron County. We are a 2-year campus in the UW system. We are associated with UW-Eau Claire, and I have some really good news that I'm excited to share with you this morning. So thanks for having me. Let's see. I'm gonna try it again. There we go. All right, so just to locate us, we are the UW campus in our region. We are located at 1800 College Drive in Rice Lake. You can see our logo there on the map. And we have a great location. It's absolutely fantastic land that the county has provided for us. We're along the Red Cedar River, and so from our student center, from our library, you get these beautiful views of the river at this point raging by, but you can see the river and you can see the wildlife in the back. We are surrounded by the Rice Lake Trail System, which means we always have community members walking around our campus. It's awesome. I don't care if it's -5, they're there and they're out and enjoying our campus and our property. Also, conveniently, we're located to the other college in our region. We're located next door to Northwood Tech. And so I've started talking about us as the College Park of our county, right? You've got Northwood and you've got Barron County right next to each other. I think it's a nice little phrase I'm going to try out, College Park. For some of you who may not know the history of our campus, we were founded in 1966 as part of actually Stout. And there is a plaque in our student center that commemorates that, and that plaque is uncovered for those of you who were asking about it earlier. But we started as a part of Stout State. And then we joined with other 2-year campuses from across the state, became Barron County Center. And then in 1997, the 2-year campuses across the state became UW colleges, and we were known as UW Barron County until just recently. However, no matter which year it was, our mission remains the same. We are here to serve our town and our county and our region. We have been an access institution, a place for people to start their college education. And we're also here to bring the Wisconsin idea to life in our region. On July 1st, 2018, we became the 2-year branch campus to UW-Eau Claire, and we're now known as UW-Eau Claire Barron County. However, our mission remains the same. We are here to be an access point to higher education, be it for one class or be it for a full degree. We are that access point in our region. And so what do we offer? What is the degree that we offer at UW-Eau Claire Barron County? We offer an Associate of Arts and Sciences degree. That is a 60-credit degree. But not everybody comes to us for a full degree. A lot of students come to us for classes to transfer elsewhere. They have goals that go beyond our campus, so they come, they pick up a couple classes. What's great about our partnership with UW-Eau Claire, we teach UW-Eau Claire classes at our campus. So these classes transfer really well. They transfer well next door to Northwood Tech. They transfer well to Stout, to River Falls, to Duluth, to Minnesota. Our classes transfer incredibly well. So what we tell our students when recruiting them is we say, start at UW-Eau Claire Barron County, transfer anywhere. Or, and I've been thinking about this more in the last year, we have a role to play along with Northwood Tech in the workforce development. So how about this? How about earn your associates with UW-Eau Claire Barron County and open new doors for you in our community? We can help train the workforce for today and for tomorrow. We have a role to play in that along with Northwood Tech. So when we think about our classes, we offer UW-Eau Claire classes, but we offer them the ECBC way. Number one, cost. We are an affordable location. The numbers on the screen right now reflect the slight increase for the 2023-24 academic year. And so next year, students will be paying approximately $2,800 per semester for Eau Claire Barron County courses. At Eau Claire, they'd be paying $4,600 per semester. And so what that means for students is that gives them affordable, easy access, and they can graduate with less debt. Both very important to our students and to our families in our county. The other way we have the ECBC way is our average class size. At UW-Eau Claire Barron County, our average class size is 18-1. At Eau Claire, it's 36-1. Last semester when I was still teaching, I taught general chemistry to 24 students, but my colleagues at the main campus were teaching to 124. So that meant our students were getting that personal attention from me as their instructor. We were working through that math that comes up in Gen Chem. We were working on their level. I was able to help them through their situations. And that's true for all of our students and everything they're doing on our campus. Our staff knows all of our students, and they get to know us pretty well. It's up to them if they want to come and knock on my door. But I have cookies for them twice a month. They can come into my office and have cookies. Usually Thursdays and Fridays. You're welcome to come. It's noon to 1. But they're getting personalized attention. The other really big benefit of being at a small campus like Barron County is that students get really engaged in their learning. With a class of 24, I can get each and every one of them engaged. And I know our faculty do that. I know our instructors do that. And so they're engaged in their learning. Additionally, having a small campus means we invite our students to take part in governance of our campus. So they're learning what it means to become an engaged community member, an engaged citizen. I can tell you names and exact things that our student government has done to influence how we operate today and how we're going to operate in the future. So not only are we giving them an associate's, or not only are they earning an associate's degree with us, they're also earning and learning about community and governance and organization. And these skills will do them well when they go out into the workforce. So here's some of the good news. In spring of 2023, we have 465 students that our instructors are responsible for teaching. That is up nearly 100 from a year ago. Most importantly, we have returned to pre-pandemic enrollment levels. That is super exciting for us. So let's break down those numbers a little bit, the 465. We have 145 on campus in Rice Lake. I would love to have more. We've learned through the pandemic that people learn better face-to-face with those interactions. We would love to have more in our building, and we're doing everything that we can in our recruiting to increase those numbers. But 145 is strong. We also have 78 students in the launch program at the Eau Claire campus. Let me explain this. These students applied to UW-Eau Claire. They want the 10,000 person campus feel, okay? But they applied and they didn't quite meet the academic criteria to get into UW-Eau Claire right away. So we offered them admission to the launch program. If they accept, they live and take classes in Eau Claire on the Eau Claire campus. However, they're getting it the ECBC way. They're getting it at the ECBC tuition and the ECBC class size. Additionally, UW Eau Claire Barron County instructors who are skilled at helping students who just need that extra touch, that extra push, our instructors are doing the drive a couple times a week to go down there and teach them in person. And so the launch program helps students who are interested in being Blue Golds, but also it helps us because it gives us more students to teach and some additional income. We also, UW Eau Claire Barron County, UW Eau Claire, we are part of a collaborative, fully online associate's degree program. That's in collaboration with 4 other campuses across the state. And so right now we have 4 students currently enrolled. They don't have to come to campus at all, and they'll have a 60-credit associate's degree. And actually, in just about a month, we're going to graduate our first students from that program. I'm super excited that we've got 5 people who have earned their associates fully online. So the rest of our numbers are high school students. Research shows that a high school student who graduates with at least 3 college credits is more likely to go on and get additional schooling, be it a certificate, a technical degree, 2-year or 4-year degree. They're more likely to go on and get additional schooling if they have just a taste of college before they graduate high school. We are helping to meet that need. And so some of us, I've got one instructor who's driving up to Rice Lake High School right now, and he's teaching writing in person. Some of our students who are out, like say in Webster. Webster is an education desert, but they can log in and see interactive live television teaching where our instructor stands in Rice Lake, has a few students in front of them there, but then also calls on the person sitting in Webster and gets them to interact. We also have fully online courses available for the high school students. So there are multiple modalities for high school students to be taking credits with us. And thanks to the support from our state legislature, oftentimes that's at a reduced cost to the students, or maybe no cost to the students. So I was asked by Mr. French to share some data about who are our ECBC students and are we really serving our county? I would put forth that this data I'm going to show to you shows that we do that. And so I've got data from when we joined with UW Eau Claire to today. So this is a map of northwestern Wisconsin. And in fall of 2019, we could see that we had 165 students from Barron County. And these numbers include our students in person at the campus, our launch students, and our high school students. And so for the top 9 counties, they're the ones that have text on them. Even if you can't necessarily read the numbers, the counties that have text on them are where we have the most students coming from. So we can see very clearly in fall of 19, we are serving Barron County and our local region. This holds true in fall of 20. Some counties come and go depending on what high schools do. So that's why we see some changes. And then this continues to today. So we are serving our county, we're serving our region. We are addressing the fact that we're one of the few education opportunities in northwestern Wisconsin. But who are these students? What kind of backgrounds do they come from? And so a question was asked, what's their financial background? We can use Pell Grant eligibility to kind of take a guess at that. And so Pell Grant eligibility, most Pell Grants go to students with family incomes under $30,000. Some Pell Grants go to students with family incomes of 30 to 60. So if we look at Pell Grant eligibility from fall of 19 to fall of 22 and average it out, we're looking at about 20% of our students at UW Eau Claire Barron County being eligible for Pell Grants. So that means a quarter of our students, their families make less than $60,000. I apologize for the look of my slides. I used a different font, and so it's funky right now. But since fall of 19, we have had nearly 600 degree-seeking students enroll at UW Eau Claire Barron County. So since we joined with UW Eau Claire, we've had nearly 600 degree-seeking students enroll at ECBC. Of those 600, 50% have graduated or transferred. And in our world, the world of 2-year campuses, degree completion and or transfer is a success for us. We're not here to get 4-year degrees. We're here to get someone started on their college journey. And so if that means a semester with us and then they go, oh, you know what? I really want to be next door at Northwood, that's great. We help them do that. We help them get some gen eds done and they're going next door. And so 50% of our students that have enrolled with us since fall of 19 have either graduated or transferred, and that is a win. Where do they go when they transfer? Again, that concern that maybe we're teaching students and they're running to the far reaches of the state. Turns out, most of our transfer students stay here in Western Wisconsin. A large number go down to UW Eau Claire. Again, these numbers reflect our transfers since fall of 19, so that probably reflects how easy it is to go from Barron County to Eau Claire. But what we see is 156, since the fall of 19, 156 have gone to UW Eau Claire. And then our next biggest numbers are Northwood Tech, which used to be WITC, and Chippewa Valley Tech, so CVTC. But then also they're going to Stout and River Falls, up to Superior, down to La Crosse, and there's always a contingent that has to go to Madison. No matter how much I tell them that blue is better than red, I'm sorry, I apologize. We still get a group that wants to go to Madison, but we can help them do that. Our goal isn't necessarily to keep them here. Our goal is to help them achieve their dreams, no matter what that is. So you've probably read and you've heard about enrollment at our two-year campuses across the state. And what I'm sharing with you right now is UW Eau Claire Barron County enrollment since 2008, since the recession. And I've highlighted 3 particular years. The first one on the left is 2010. In this time period, that was our high point. We had 715 students we were responsible for teaching. That works out to 484 FTEs, or full-time equivalents, meaning blocks of 12 credits. And then we do see a slight decline as we work down to like 2016. There's this weird spike across the system in 2018. I can't explain it. But in 2019, again, right before the pandemic began, we were at 454 students that we were teaching. Now here in 2022, in the fall, 455. So we're at pre-pandemic levels, and that is exciting for us. Also, I feel like the decline that was happening due to the pandemic has leveled off, and we're coming out of it. There's a lot of data, and I apologize, so I'll just be quiet for a minute. This is head counts across the 2-year campuses of the system. I think there's a couple ways you can look at this table. One is just to go down like the year of 2017. That was the last year we were UW colleges. And you could see the numbers. And then you could jump to the column of 2022 where we are today, and you could go down that, and you could see the dramatic decline. Or you could read across and see how Washington County's been doing, or see how Fond du Lac's been doing. But what I really want to highlight to you right now is that right now in the 2-year system of Wisconsin, we have 4 campuses that are at pre-pandemic levels for our enrollment. That's the 3 additional locations associated with Green Bay, and then the Barron County location. 4 of the campuses are at pre-pandemic levels, and we're one of them. So my question is, what are we doing right? What is Barron County doing right? And number 1 is that Chancellor Schmidt has been a big advocate for our campus since day 1. When it was announced in the fall of 17 that we were going to be part of Eau Claire, he was on campus within the week and telling us how we were going to move forward together. And he has been consistent in that. Additionally, our counterparts at UW Eau Claire have been great supporters and are consistent, always asking, what can we do to help? And so we have a great relationship with our 4-year campus. Additionally, our launch program brings additional income to us, gives us additional students to teach, and that's a success. And in fact, it's being copied at some of the other 2-year campuses across the state. Recruiting and retaining has changed since the pandemic. High school students want something different. They're looking for something different. The way they're choosing college is different, and so we are adapting to that. We're adapting our recruiting strategies. But additionally, if you can retain them, it means you have to recruit fewer. Right? And so we're doing our best to retain students when they come to us, and we've got a new retention specialist on staff, and she is amazing. She will go and wait outside the classroom to grab somebody and say, hey, your enrollment period's open. You haven't registered for classes yet. Let's get that taken care of. That we're talking about that kind of individualized attention for all of our students. And then we're expanding our high school programming. I've been out with a lot of the superintendents this year, talking with them, asking how can we help? Are your instructors certified with a master's degree within a discipline? Do they want to teach our classes? There are a lot of ways for us to expand our high school programming. But when I think about how Barron County is different than the other two-year campuses across the state, number one, Chancellor Schmidt, but number two, we have an amazing relationship with Mr. French and the county, and we are so thankful for your continued support. I have talked with a lot of my colleagues across the state at the two-year campuses. Both the top and the bottom bullet points on this slide are not true across the state. And so we are in a unique position, and I am quite thankful and grateful to all of you and to Jeff and Louie for the continued relationship that we have. So I'm sorry, my slides are going to be funky. I'm now looking forward to 2026. That is when UW-Eau Claire Barron County turns 60. And so I'm thinking ahead. It's not that, it feels like it's far, but it's not far. And so I'm thinking, what can we do in 2026? Similar to what Turtle Lake was talking about celebrating, right? Let's get the county in on a countywide celebration. Let's put banners on main streets, not just in Rice Lake, but across our county. Let's celebrate the education that we have here in the county. Let's have UW-Eau Claire Barron County Creative Works celebrated at our libraries. That was a former literature instructor there reading from his book. And then how about an archival display here at the Government Center, right? Let's celebrate that relationship between the county and the campus. But additionally, by 2026, I'm expecting our campus to have much more increased engagement with our community. We're going to continue our Thursdays at the U programming, and we are thankful to the Rice Lake Community Media for broadcasting that live every Thursday at 12:30. I've got a program if you need a program for that. We're going to bring back life to our theater in lots of different ways. What you see on this picture right here is actually Rice Lake High School students on our campus over the weekend, because this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, they're going to perform Almost Maine in our theater. We want more of that. We want more high schools coming to get that real theater experience on our campus, but also concerts and we could have comedians, right? We could have lots of things. We're trying to bring life back to our theater. Next Monday, we're holding the Northwestern Wisconsin Career and Education Fair, aimed primarily at high schoolers, but everybody is welcome to come and meet with well over 50 representatives of higher ed in the workforce. Last semester, an astronomy instructor held a telescope night. We anticipate more telescope nights, but we also anticipate more non-credit enrichment programs for youth and for adults. Wizarding Academy for the kids, for the adults, maybe some more cooking classes coming back. We want more engagement. And then lastly, this is one of our English professors helping out with the Trick or Treat downtown back in October. We expect to be at these events and having ECBC being a force in our community. And so as I think about wrapping up our 60th anniversary, I think about the May 2027 commencement. Commencement's the best night of the year for me. Love it. I love celebrating our students. And in May 2027, I expect us to be graduating not only associate's degree graduates, but also bachelor's degree credits, because we are bringing the bachelor's degree program back to Barron County. We're going to have a 4-year degree available for students from Barron County. And so that night, we're going to have students who would have earned college credits while they were in high school. But we'll also have students who came back to college. All right, there are plenty of people in our community who have some college credits. Let's welcome them back. Let's get them a degree. Also, we're looking into the opportunity for people who don't have college experience, but could get credit for prior learning, credit for their lived experiences. We're working on that as an institution. We're also going to be reaching out to local employers in the county to talk about asking them to invest in their employees by investing in their education. Education can open doors, and so we're asking employers to invest in their employees. We're also expecting by 2026, 2027, more students be graduating with internship or research experience, more skills for them to use when they either go on for more schooling or into the workforce. And then lastly, some of these graduates in May of 2027, they're gonna be excited to start jobs here in our community. And some of them are gonna be looking forward to the career advancement that the associate degree or the bachelor's degree will offer them. This is what I envision for 2027 in our commencement. This is how we wrap up our 60th celebration. So thank you for your time this morning. Hopefully I gave you some good news about Barron County, and I welcome your questions. Bun.
I think you're supposed to hit the old button on here, Bun. I get a list of people.
I didn't know if that
That's
happened
okay, go ahead, though.
Thank you for your enthusiasm, first of all. Who pays for the high school students?
That's a good question. It depends on which model we're talking about. The state of Wisconsin has a program called the Early College Credit Program, and then it's specific to the liberal arts degrees. There's a Start College now for the technical degrees, but the ECCP, Early College Credit Program, through the state, allows any high schooler sophomore through senior to take college classes if their school district approves it. If the school district says yes, the school district pays $100 per student per credit. Yep, I should make sure that's right. And then the state picks up the other bit. School districts must pay for up to 18 credits, and that's usually where most districts cap it. If a family and a student decide that they want more, at that point they start to pick up the cost on their own at our typical tuition rate. If we have one of our instructors either teaching in person or beaming out to a school, and we've got an agreement that, yes, this instructor will teach this pack of students, that ranges from it's our instructors, $200 per credit. Most of the time, the school district is picking up that bill. But we're getting into a point when I think we've seen this in our community, school districts are more strapped for cash. And so we're working out ways, the districts are working out ways to maybe share costs with families.
Okay, supervisor efforts?
Yes. What is the meaning of the Wisconsin idea that you'd mentioned?
Yes. The Wisconsin idea is this idea that we're going to bring learning and culture and experience and beyond learning, right? It's that idea of bringing learning out to the far reaches of our state and helping to develop our state as a whole. I wouldn't say it's necessarily just a Wisconsin idea. I'm hoping all states are doing it. But it was popularized back about the founding of the two-year campuses across the state. The idea that we're going to not just leave education in Madison, that we're going to bring it to the Websters, we're going to bring it to the Spooners, right? We're going to make sure we're bringing education to all members of our state. And it doesn't have to be in the form of a degree. It could be just in the form of enrichment programming.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Supervisor Rogers.
Abby, you answered one of my questions in the beginning. That's the bringing some life back to the theater program. And I would add, Almost Maine is a wonderful show. Absolutely wonderful. If you have an opportunity, please get there to see Almost Maine. Second part is there any hope at all to bringing back the Chargers and the basketball teams?
I would say there's always hope. It's going to be a matter of pulling in students that are interested in it. Right now on Wednesday evenings, we have one of our instructors having kind of open basketball time. It attracts a small number, not enough yet to field a team. The same is true for our volleyball, although volleyball attracts a few more, and they may actually do a little bit of traveling. Not too far, but we are in communication with some of the two-year campus from the UW system, but also just across the street or across the parking lot at Northwood Tech. They've got some volleyball. So volleyball has a better chance than basketball right now.
Okay, Supervisor Banks.
What about out-of-state students coming into the UWEC-BC?
We do attract a few every year. In fact, when I saw a report last week, we have somebody coming in from New York because they had applied to Eau Claire and they really want to be here, but they didn't get into Eau Claire, so they're coming to us first. And they're going to spend a semester or a year with us and then transfer. We always get a handful from just across the river in Minnesota. But I think last week also I read on a report, we got someone coming from Cortez, Colorado. Often it's family ties, right? It's a family, it's a Blue Gold alum who's like, I want my kid to be a Blue Gold too. And so they come. But also we are that access point for UW Eau Claire for a lot of students. And so we do get out-of-state students that come to us for the opportunity to go to Eau Claire. But I should also highlight real quick, this year we welcomed 19 international students. 19 international students. I was shocked when I was hired at Barron County in 2016 that we had such a diverse student body for where we are, but it's our international students that really help us, and they bring such life to our campus.
Would out-of-state students pay the same tuition as in-state?
No. No. It depends on where they're coming from. So Minnesota and Wisconsin, I believe we still have the reciprocity agreement. And so I believe they're paying Minnesota tuition. But like for the student who's coming from Colorado, that student will pay more than the $2,800. Yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, thanks very much, Abby. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, item number 11, progress update on highway facilities. That'll be by our equipment manager, Mac. Mark's doing a fine job out there.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Mark asked me to fill this spot today. Be honest, I'm pretty nervous, but I'll get through it.
So
what we have going right now is Erickson Excavating has all their equipment there for the staged for the rest of the demo of the old building and to start on the dirt work to finish the drain systems up. The final cleaning has been performed yesterday on the heated storage part, and all our equipment is under the roof. The shop is fully functional and it's working amazing. Guys are doing a super job with the weather in the winter that we had to have that facility is pretty amazing. So thank you to all you that played a part in that. From my understanding, the UH2 building that's yet to be put up, it's looking like they are gonna start setting trench drains next week and do the concrete pour on the floor before the building is erected. And that's about all I have for right now.
Supervisor Schradel.
Yeah, you mentioned that steel building, is that gonna have a floor in it?
Yes.
Right, there was talk, there wasn't. Now we decided to have it all finished. Yeah.
I don't have any info on that. Everything's up on cribbing. It's not sitting right in the dirt, so.
Any other further questions for Mac? Well, you must have done a good job, Mac. No questions, hardly. Thank you. Item number 12, financial update on the highway facilities project. Jody?
Okay, we're gonna take a quick look at December so you can see where we ended up at the end of 2022. And the reason is because at the end of the year, we need to do some closing adjustments, and they did affect of where we're sitting now. So I just wanted to just kind of give you a heads up on this. So non-bond activity at the end of the year, we had spent about $315,000. Most of that was paying for the asbestos removal in that main building. Bond activity came in at about 14.5 million. The one thing I wanted to show you was here, this line, it says retainage adjustment. At the end of each year, even though we haven't paid that retainage that we hold until the end of the project, we do need to book that retainage in the proper year. So by doing that, because it was such a large number, it was over $1 million, we did not have the cash in the fund to cover that. So we did have to tap into the 4.6 million. We did a transfer of about just under 750,000 to cover those bills. So at the end of the year, you know, we were in the black in the fund. We had fund balances at the end of the year of about 27,000. About 16.2 was that non-bond, and then about 11,000 was in for the bond money. Now, and just to remind you too, I mean, we were still paying some 2022 bills just in March, so this has just been closed. You know, we're always closing a few months after 12/31. At the end of 2022, by earmarking that 4.6 million in the highway fund, we had just under 6 million of unrestricted fund balance in the highway fund. That's what the final financials will show. Any questions for December? Okay, then fast forward to March. So this is where we're looking today. So non-bond, we had paid out, it was the final payment for the asbestos. So that was about 26,000. Bond activity through the end of March was about 402,000. Other things, we had some revenues coming in from the final interest now that the bond is gone and we no longer have the non-bond funds in the LGIP. you know, we're not going to have any interest that's going to be coming in now moving forward. We did close out the non-bond fund by moving that over. So now we just have one pot of money that we're working on, and we will do transfers in from the highway fund as needed. The other thing, so that retainage reversal or the retainage that we had in 2022, we actually book it in 2022, reverse it in 2023. So then that freed up most of the cash that we had expended or that we had to transfer in 2022. So as of the end of March, we've only had to tap into that 4.6 million of cash out the door by about 18,000. And so between the two funds, we've got 4,581,000 still available. Is there any questions? Okay.
Okay, seeing none. Thanks, Jody. You did a good job.
Question, I
have a question.
Okay, Gary.
Yeah. How much are we retaining until the completion of the project? Are we retaining 10%, like $3 million, or since it's at 30 million, are we retaining, are we holding back some money until everything is completed?
The retainage is 5% for all of the contracts.
So it's $1.5 million.
Yeah, we currently have probably about 2 million on the between 2 and 3 million on the contracts that we have not expended yet.
Okay, so since we're up to 30 million, that'd be $1.5 million that we're holding back.
And we're still making monthly payments. It's not just retainage that we owe yet, because there's still work to be done. UH2 still needs to be erected. You know, there is only one contract that we've actually closed out, and that was to Hydrochem for the wash bays that was done quite a long time ago.
Okay, so we're holding 5% on each contractor until substantial completion.
Yes, until completion of their portion, yes.
Supervisor Cook.
Jody, so we still have about 4.5, almost 4.6. Looking at what's left to construct, is 4.6 enough?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
If you look at the spreadsheets that were supplied by CBS Squared, I believe that number is about 4.9 million at the present time. But I'm not projecting that or handing it out because I don't know that it's right. So.
And so that would not include the 5% that we're withholding?
That would include.
That would include.
That
Okay, thank you.
that's included in that, yes.
Supervisor Schradel. Yes. No.
No.
No, that's part of
No.
it. That's part of the project.
Yep.
Yeah. I hope not, but you know, yeah. Well, I wish I could tell you the answer. We meet again next week on our highway finance. We've got some change orders that are a couple years old. There's things that are out there that we're researching, and I wish I could give you an answer and say I know what the final number is going to be, but nobody on our side does. No. Yeah, that's all you can say. You know, we are in control of it because what's going to happen is, you know, we've got a limit of 4.6. A lot of, you know, we've got paving and some other things that are part of the county that aren't contracts with other people. So we're in control as to what we do in the end. And believe me, we're not going to just do something without talking to everybody here. So, and Supervisor Cook? Yep.
Just one final question. So when do we anticipate this project to be complete?
We've been talking June, but you know, yeah.
Okay.
I wish I knew that too.
Thank you.
Supervisor Turcott.
Is the supervisor still on site, the project supervisors?
Sparingly. You know, they're there sometimes, but they're there by phone, and when we have our highway finance meetings, they are virtual, so they are answering our questions, and our county, Mac out there, and several people are at the highway department, and Jody are all over this thing, and they're, I believe, doing a good job keeping track of this, along with our, Mark survey, so.
Thank you. Just a quick question. So when they transfer money for the books at the end of the year for the retainage, is that still getting interest? Is that just like a shell game on numbers, or are you actually transferring the money and then having to transfer it?
We originally, up until just March, basically, so the bond was invested. So we were getting interest on that. The interest was coming right back to this project. So we made, we were using that interest for this project. For the non-bond, we had that segregated in the LGIP. So any interest that money made was coming back to the project. Now, because both of those pots of money are gone, and now it's just highway funds, we're not specifically earning interest to this project. It's just the money is just invested with the rest of the county funds.
But we did have some money in 2023 earn interest, some of it came due at different times.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, thank you. On to item number 13, an ordinance to amend the Parks and Recreation Ordinance relating to regulations affecting the county rifle ranges. Can I get a motion by Supervisor Efforts, seconded by Supervisor Gores? Does anybody have any questions on that ordinance? It was developed by, John, our corp counsel, and it applies to both rifle ranges, and it's hopefully will do the trick, but if we have to get stricter and tighter on things to maintain order at those rifle ranges, we'll do so. The property committee is all over that, so. If there's no further questions or discussions, let's vote on it then. Okay, that passed by a majority of 28-0 with one absent. Thank you. Just a note on items 14 through 19, all of those resolutions require a 2/3 vote. So we'll need at least 20 supervisors voting yes in order those resolutions to be approved. Okay, item number 14, resolution authorizing the use of American Rescue Act ARPA funds for electrical and technology upgrades at the Straw Pit Rifle Range in the town of Maple Plain. And I believe that did say not to exceed $25,000. Got a motion by Supervisor Moen, seconded by Supervisor Rogers. Any questions or concerns? Okay, if not, let's vote. Okay, that passed by a 2/3 vote of 28-0, again with one absent. Thank you. Item number 15, resolution authorizing the use of capital improvement funds and unassigned fund balance for the purpose of purchasing one track loader for the Barron County Recreation Fund. That amount is $64,900, and they're using $35,000 from SISOP, which I forgot, kind of Jeff's memo detailed where that was coming from. One of the things that we didn't use it in the past, and then $30,000 from the unassigned. That's a little change in philosophy because we were providing loans as was indicated in the memo, and we have loaned over $1 million in the past to some funds, and I believe, Jody, what do we have left? 400,000 or something?
Yep. I mean, currently we have about 235,000 that's tied up in those loans on the books.
So those clubs have all paid it back, but with the price of the equipment getting up there so high, we just trying to switch gears and not do the loans anymore, but actually the county to purchase the equipment, and then we'll lease it back to the clubs. They have to sign up for it. Nobody gets preferential treatment. If it isn't used by the club, it'll be used by our rec officer or the highway department or somebody else to do that. And because of our buying power and municipal discount, which is around 39%, that piece of equipment would have cost about $105,000, but it's going to cost us $64,900. So, any questions or concerns on that? Supervisor Olson.
So I noticed in the administrator's update, unfortunately he left, but he indicated that as the equipment is used, the money is going to go into the recreation fund. It's not coming from that. Why would we be doing that?
You know, Jody?
Well, the money actually comes from the project grants that through recreation.
Officer Wolf administers those grants.
Question for you.
Sheriff, you want to clear that up?
Yeah, Jody's better at it, but when the money, the revenue we take from that when clubs rent it, they'll rent that equipment, they get the grants run through us, and then Jody keeps that in a fund. So that's the revenue that will be created from this.
And any revenue, it just goes back into the equipment. It'll take care of the maintenance, things like that. So but we're paying the money out to the clubs through the grant. It's not like it's gonna build to be a lot because most of it, we're kind of a pass through.
But you're talking about taking money from unassigned fund balance to start with, or at least part of it. So wouldn't that go back to the fund balance or whatever portion was taken out?
The recreation fund doesn't have enough fund balance to cover this. So this would be coming out of the general fund balance.
I guess the answer is no, Pete. It won't.
And it's similar to how we set up what we call Big Red, the truck that we bought for the snowmobile clubs and the trails. That revenue goes into that fund so that we can pay for maintenance equipment, redo it.
Supervisor Guselik.
So why do we need to be in the rental business of snowmobile clubs as a taxing authority when there are businesses out there that would rent this equipment to the clubs? Why are we competing?
I guess because we feel we can get a better price for it. Our highway department will maintain it. Our rec officer will manage how the clubs use it and look at it. And so that's a decision that.
But does our staff really have time to become a rental manager?
Yes.
I mean, don't they have other things?
They do, but they also think this is a necessary thing. If the clubs were not there, that falls back on the county. We'd have to do everything, or we wouldn't have trails.
I'll take a shot at this too a little bit. Well, one is you asked us to come back. We didn't want to be in the loan business anymore. And clubs have been getting those loans for years. They're borrowing equipment from themselves and paying themselves back. This is going to increase Jeff Wolf's efficiency. It encourages the clubs to work together. We can't GPS someone's personal equipment. We will GPS this equipment. So Jeff Wolf just goes to his computer and realizes that equipment went down trail XYZ for this many miles. Then we can bill that. That goes through Penny and Jody. We bill that back. If the clubs don't get a loan, because if we don't pass this today, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, if it doesn't pass today, then the club more than likely is going to come back to Jeff French, because a club came to Jeff French and Jeff Wolf, and said, we're going to need a skid steer, whatever the piece of equipment was. We had this idea building. It's somewhat of an alliance. It's not really an alliance yet, but it's holding the equipment in Barron County's hands so that we can keep track of it. We can GPS it. Again, that increases Jeff Wolf efficiency. They could go out to Barron and rent it. The dollar for dollar isn't quite there. And if we have a storm, it's not going to be available when we need to get our trails open for recreational purposes. So there's a little bit of a fear in that we won't be able to get our trails open because everybody's going to be borrowing or renting that kind of equipment when we need it. We use this as much as we can. I know there's some fear out there that it's the equipment. Randy and Supervisor Cook and I have had this conversation. The equipment's just going to sit there and not be utilized. We're going to try to utilize it the best we can. We're going to rent it when we can. The highway's going to use it. Maintenance is going to use it. So it's not a piece of equipment that's just going to try to sit there. But when our clubs, this is going to encourage our clubs to share. They've never had to share before because they've all had their own piece of equipment. We're trying to get away from having 6 skid steers and 6 snowmobile sleds and 6 of this. And if our clubs can't afford this and we don't do this today and we don't give them a loan and they got to go to a bank and get a loan at a higher interest rate, that's fine. We can do that. But if they go under, then I'm going to be going to Mac saying, and Mark Servey saying, we need to hire 2 guys to do our trails. And I don't want to do that. What we have works. We need our volunteers in our clubs. They put our trails together. They hold us strong in our recreational. They allow us to do some of these land disputes. They help us with all of that. Our clubs are vital to our tourism. The money we make from it goes back into maintenance. We talked about that. You know, we don't really need our command post, but when we need our command post, I need it. It's kind of the same philosophy here. When we need this, we need it. We can't wait for, oh, it's not in, it won't be back till Tuesday. Then the club can go get it from Barron Supply on Tuesday. That's a fear. I'm not saying it might work, but this is what you asked us to do. This is what we came up with. And this is where we hope you allow us to purchase this.
Supervisor Vaughn.
So this will be used for county use as well as club use?
Correct.
Do we have an estimate of how much county versus how much club?
I don't. Unless Mac does how much they use. They have 3 at the highway shop, correct? And they utilize them, but they have certain hours that they have to keep them under. This wouldn't be under that hours if we didn't want it to be because we're going to own it. We don't lease them. Maintenance will use it instead of taking we have a sweeper and we have a scooper for snow. I don't know the correct terms. That's not my field. We have a pusher, a snower, and a sweeper. One will be attached to the sweeper. One will be attached to the pushers for the snow. And so it's going to create some efficiency. It costs money. I don't disagree. This is the best plan that I think we can come up with. I mean, this has been vetted through Jeff and Jody and Penny and our grants and Jeff Wolf.
Property.
I mean, this is where you wanted us. You want to get out of the loan business. This is the next best thing I think we can do.
Supervisor Bob Anderson.
I don't have a problem with having this equipment if it passes. What I would like to see is an annual report, since you're going to have a GPS that comes to the county board level right away that just says how much highway use it compared to each. You're going to have that very easily available to you. So if we could please have that, that would probably give us a little bit more insight on where it's being used more.
And that's a good point because that'll help us in the future because we'll probably be back here, looking at more equipment in the future if we're not going to give loans to clubs. I mean, and we'll see if this works.
Supervisor Heller.
The shared use of this is going to be shared not just with the county, but with each and every club. And in doing that, they have an opportunity to not have a piece of equipment that's just sitting. So in sharing it, they're also providing the labor free of charge because all the clubs do the work. And if they're not going to do the work and the county has to do it, then the county has to pay that labor as well. So rather than supply loans to each individual club, this way it's a shared piece of equipment. It's shared with the county, and the county doesn't have to pay the labor to actually do the trail work. So it ends up being a benefit. And the labor, when you say reimbursement, that goes out to the state as a grant, and it comes back to help pay for the maintenance and the upkeep on those pieces of equipment. the clubs get paid so much per mile based on the GPS. So when they do that, that money does come back to the county as well as the clubs as far as funding it. Again, if they didn't have this piece of equipment, they would have to go out at full retail and try to purchase or lease it. And then it'd be sitting more often than, say, they need it 8 times a year per club or something like that. And the county has use of it all the time, whenever they need it.
Supervisor Shale?
Yes, being a member of the property committee along with Dana, he's our chairman.
Bill, you want to speak into the mic there? Just-
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on a property committee and our chair is Dana there. And we talked about this, you know, it helps with tourism. People coming in from outside the county bring sales tax revenue, patronize our local businesses. If we don't have well-maintained trails, I mean, I'm not a snowmobiler, but I have several friends that are, and they really want good maintained trails. I think that everybody does. So I think this is going to be a benefit. So I think this is a good situation.
Supervisor Cook, did you want to ask another question? Or is it, no,
I have a
okay.
comment.
Supervisor Olson?
No, my question was answered.
Okay.
I think Gary had his hand up.
You want to say something, Gary?
Supervisor Olson sort of asked the same question. Just, we should try this and get a report back next year and see how it worked. I mean, we need to try new things, so we can't do everything the same way forever. It's not this, oh, we've always done it that way. We need to try. We have to be creative.
Supervisor Cook?
Yes. So just to clarify what Jody said, we're given a grant to maintain these trails. The clubs work on these trails, and we take that money, it passes through to the clubs. So if the club were to go out and rent a skid steer for $34 an hour, approximately what we're going to rent a skid steer for, because that's the rate in which the state reimburses. So if you can rent a skid steer for $34 from someone, I'm with Audrey on this, if you can rent one, and there's multiple places to rent them, we shouldn't compete. But I'm a numbers guy, so please bear with me. Right now, as of yesterday, the Parks and Recs has a skid steer. They got 5 months ago, has 110 hours on it to date. They're estimating that they will probably put 300 hours on their skid steer, maybe a tad more. Let's say they put 400 hours on their skid steer. There are 40-hour work week times 52. There are 2,080 hours in a year of work time. That skid steer is going to get used at best 400 hours. That's 1,700 hours plus weekends, holidays, and any time after 4:30. So the taxpayers of Barron County already own 4 skid steers. We talk about being Barron County strong. I gotta believe if we can put a man on a moon, I've got qualified employees that can figure out how we meet. And again, Jeff Wolf, amazing young man, talked to him for about 40 minutes yesterday. I learned a lot. I'm not saying we don't need a skid steer. It wasn't budgeted. And we're asking to budget it. But I don't have a plan, a business plan, that says it's going to get used 400 hours, 200 hours, 100 hours. Again, it's pass-through money. So they can go. We had a storm of a century 3 years ago, closed most of our trails, had them open in what? A week? They got it done. How many of those storms are we going to have? We had one in a century. The math is not there. My wife will not let me. I have 3 lawnmowers. She's not only going to let me buy another one to lease to the neighbor to mow their lawn a few times a year. It doesn't make sense.
Mac, did you have a comment?
Yeah, Mac's going to add to that because that's about the underutilization. So Mac can add.
So I just wanted to say the amount of equipment that the county has and the manpower and the equipment and trailering and trucks that it takes to get it from one place to the other so that it could be used in that 10-hour time frame doesn't fit to haul it from here to do a 5-minute job when you might need it back here in another half an hour. Them pieces of equipment have to stay on a job site for the 10-hour duration of our days, and we can't be affording to truck them all over from point A to point B. That's why we have multiple crews running in multiple places at one time.
No, I understand. So now we're, on the highway department, we went to 410s?
Yes.
So Friday, it would be available, it wouldn't be on any job, wouldn't be on any job Saturday, wouldn't be on any job on Sunday, and
Necessarily, because we do work a lot of Fridays to make up for bad weather or for extra work that we're taking on.
Because of all the extra township work, they do work a lot of
Right.
Fridays.
we own 4 skid steers. All I'm asking is, at most, this thing is gonna be used by clubs 400 hours. We can't find 400 hours, and that's at most, guys. 400 hours, we can't find 400 hours. Not only do we own skid steers for doing trails, we own tractors and mowers, correct?
The county?
Yeah.
Yeah, the county.
The
owns tractors.
taxpayers of this county have the equipment. I believe we have the wherewithal. What I'd like to see us do is use the equipment we have this year. And if in fact they can prove based on a business plan, who's going to use it, who actually does use it, how much pass-through dollars, and we put it on our budget for next year. That would be my take.
Supervisor Olson.
You know, we gave some marching orders to staff and they've researched this. I'm concerned that this body is really getting down into the weeds and digging into something that the property committee's already looked at it. I don't recall the vote. It was pretty
An executive.
strongly, pardon?
And executive.
And executive been very strongly in favor of it. And unless you disagree with what our staff is doing, I think we need to support them. Thank you.
Any further questions or discussion? Not, let's vote. Okay, that vote passed by 2/3 vote, 25-3 with 1 absent. Thank you.
And voting no was Supervisor Cook, Supervisor Efforts, and Supervisor Kuslik.
Okay, thank you. Item number 16, resolution authorizing payment of $25,323.65 using unassigned fund balance to Cooper Engineering for the remedial cleanup analysis for the Broughton property, offhand called Alcatraz, 220 East Charles Street in the city of Rice Lake. I believe Jeff had, let's see, you got quite a bit in there, but it's a bill that was generated by the county, and do you want to speak any more about?
Ready to go.
Okay.
Plans and stuff.
Okay.
I've been asked to project the map, but if you don't have it ready to go.
It's a property, it's by Johnson's Auto Body in Rice Lake, and it's been contaminated for a long time. And our economic development officer, Dave Armstrong, has been working a long time on this. He's working with 4 different DNR personnel over this time period, and things change every time one of those people change. But he has got it the water separated from the land so that they could clean up the land part of it. The water won't be cleaned up now. You want to go ahead,
Great.
Jeff?
This is about a 2-acre parcel that borders.
Oh,
land.
yeah, we got, is there a motion and a second on that resolution? Yeah, motion by Supervisor Cook and a second by Supervisor Moen to pass that resolution.
I think it's really important to just talk through where we're at today, where we've been, where we're at today, and where we're going. So this is owned by Mrs. Broughton. The property was bought by her in 1983 from Ed Sprague, who owned it for a number of years prior to that. I will just point out, this is the property. What we're paying for is the work that they've already done to do soil borings in this area, and then anywhere from 8 to 13 or 23 feet out into the lake bed. The separation of the land from the water is very germane to this discussion. We are a riparian rights state. This is an impoundment of riparian rights. Therefore, the impoundment of riparian rights belongs to the municipality upon which the major portion of the impoundment is encapsulated upon. This belongs to the city of Rice Lake. What we're dealing with here today is paying for Cooper Engineering for the work that they've done in these areas. The next step in this process will be to have Cooper Engineering, hopefully, come into this part of the property and do soil borings from 8 to 13 feet. The reason that we're boring up here is we don't know what's up here. The water flow for this property begins at the lake and then goes this way, goes towards the dam. The water level varies from as little as 48 inches under the topsoil, and over here it's much less on the lakeside, obviously. At this point, that's where we've been, that's what we know today. Where are we going to go in the future? Everything that I've read, and there's thousands, over 1,000 pages of documents on this property, would be to put, based on the information to date, would probably be to put a retention pond up here and have it drained because that's the natural water flow. There's lead contamination in this area. There was a diesel spill here. There was a black spot there. There are 4 or 5 known contaminations on this property. They are volatile organic compounds, diesel, gas, excuse me, and the 4th one I can't pronounce, poly something or other, doesn't matter. But this is a process. So what you're approving is for paying Cooper for the work that they've done. This is our half of the bill. The next step would be, like I said, to do this. And the most cost effective at this point would be to leave the soils in place and put 4.5 or 5.5 inches of blacktop over it, encapsulate it, and leave it. And possibly Johnson Truck Bodies, if they'd stay put, would then lease it from us for a parking lot.
But there are developers that are interested in that property if it would be completely cleaned up.
Correct. Just so you're aware, I did ask Mark Servey about cleanup based on a 370-page document that we'd have to take up to 16 inches of topsoil to be remediated. That's 450 quad axles. You'd have to take it to Ladysmith. That's 2 hours. It came up with a minimum cost for our county highway department to do that without disposal of $107,000, $108,000. And Mark agreed it would be extremely expensive. If you ever got into this area and hit the water table, it's Katie bar the door. So you're way better off blacktopping it at this point. So back to the resolution at hand, you know what?
Supervisor McRoberts had a question.
Yes, Jerry.
You want to speak into the mic there, Jerry?
Back in the 90s, when I was on the zoning board of appeals in Rice Lake and anyway, and the Brotons were trying to get rid of it at that time, and we did everything we could to help them out, but there was such a mess back there at that time with that building and all the old trucks and oil leaking here and every place. And I don't think anybody's wants, is taken on that property. Johnson would be ideal if they could do it. I mean, and if we could do it. And so, but I just was going to make the comment on that we spent a considerable amount of time on that, years, and like I say, 25 years ago, probably now,
In 1993, there was a study done. The building that was there was derelict in the 90s. In the 80s, it was usable. By 1993, it was derelict and falling down. And John, didn't we pay or help pay to tear that building down at some point?
We did it.
Or if the city?
I don't know if we did it or not, or if the city did that.
Yeah, but regardless, it's a process. Leaving it here is not going to do it. It's never going to be bought. No private individual is going to buy this. All you got to do is read the documents, and you're going to say, well, I'm not taking a chance. If I'm 16 inches, within 16 inches of a water table, I'm not touching this property. So it's going to be our responsibility to clean it up at some point, or it's going to sit there forever anyway.
Supervisor Bob Anderson had a question.
In another life, when I worked for Cooper Engineering, I actually did some work at this site, collected soil samples, water samples, and so on. That's when Alcatraz was still on the property. One thing though, when you start talking about a clean site, the DNR in a situation like this will not give a clean bill of health. They'll give you a letter that may say that you've done everything you possibly can, but there is no such thing from the DNR to give a clean bill of health saying that it can be used for anything else.
Okay. Supervisor Gores?
Just how much blacktop would we have to put on there again?
In talking with Mark Servey, Jim, he's thinking everything I read a minimum of 4 inches, but for every half inch above that, you get a lot more strength. And so when I talked to Mark, he was like, yeah, 4 is what they put in one of the reports, but he said, you know, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said I'd probably lean towards 4.5 or more to make it truly encapsulated so that nothing's going to get in there.
Right. Okay.
Supervisor Vaughn?
I just need some help to understand this. So it's from 2020, and I'm not sure why we're hearing about it now, and it's not our property? So why are we responsible to clean it? I don't understand that.
It should have been taken by tax deed a long time ago. We've not taken it because of the contamination. And so if you remember last month, the county treasurer was in, and we had to write off the 11 years out on the taxes. So after 11 years, those come off. And so we've been working on this for about 10 years, trying to get a handle on how much contamination is there. What the county, no one is going to do anything with this property. So typically what we've done over the last 30 years is when there's a contaminated property and the taxes aren't paid on it and it's sitting idle, the county has gone in, we've done the assessment, we've done the phase 1, phase 2 environmentals. We've tried to get grants through the state, some brownfield grants. Dave Armstrong is working on trying to find grants. And then the philosophy that we've taken over the years is to clean these properties up and get them back on the tax roll. I can think of, just off the top of my head, probably a dozen properties that we've done this with that have been in various amounts of contamination and have gotten them back on. Otherwise, if we don't do it, it will sit there forever and not be cleaned up and not be useful. When Jeff talked about the options, one of the options and one of the reasons for going forward with additional testing in that last corner is that's the last piece that needs to be identified. Once Dave has a handle on what the contamination is, we can, and what is the proposal for cleaning it up, whether it be blacktopping it or whether it be actually trying to go in and clean it up, then he can apply for some of these grants that are available to get that done. And once it's done, then the county would attempt to get it back into some type of useful place. Otherwise, it's just going to sit empty. So that's why we've taken that philosophy, and we've done that as long as I've been here.
What is the risk that if we clean it up, the property owner just says, thank you?
At this point in time, they would be responsible for all the costs related to, in order to get it back, they're going to have to pay all any costs that are invested in it. I've never seen and we would, once we got an idea of what we were going to do, then we would probably go ahead with the
Title search?
No, we'd probably go ahead with the tax deed and take the property.
Supervisor Patty Anderson.
I just have one question. Did anybody approach Johnson Truck Body, and if it does become a parking lot, would they commit to staying at their location and using and renting?
Yes, there's been a lot of discussions with them relative to moving and staying there, but it all hinges on what we're doing here. So yes, they know what's going on.
Okay.
I think it's important to point out, though, that Johnson Truck Bodies is owned by, is it Greyhound International?
Great Dane.
Great Dane. So that's a multi-billion-dollar asset. I don't want anybody in this room to think that if we clean this up that they're going to stay there. That's a corporate decision way away from here. They could, yeah.
Supervisor Cook.
Right, just so in exec, just to help Diane and to clarify to everyone, in exec, what we did is we believe we owe this bill, the work had been done, and so we need to pay the bill. That's the resolution. And then, as Jeff pointed out, we need to sample that little corner up there to find out what is the totality of what it's going to take to clean it up. And at that point, we would make a decision on whether or not we tax deed this property, or it stays there forever. It becomes the first piece that we don't. So that's why we're at this resolution.
Any further questions? Or
may I point out?
Go ahead.
When we went into this, Mr. Mensch and I talked about this yesterday, we took this to the executive committee in either 2019 or 2020, and we said, look, here's where we're at. And the executive committee at that time said,
well, go ahead. There's nothing here. If we'd have been here and it would have been successful, and let me explain what I mean by that. Dave Armstrong's in a catch-22. He can't clean it up because the DNR won't give us the grant because we don't know what we're going to put there. Well, we don't know what we're going to put there because we don't know what it's going to take to clean it up. We don't know what it's going to take to clean it up because we haven't finished the study. So either way, we're going to pay this bill. And to sit from, I mean, this stuff goes, one of the very first studies done, were you working in the early 80s? There's a real short report from 77 or 79 done by Sharon Mashik. And then were you there in the 80s? Because there's a lengthy one in the 80s and a huge one in the early 90s, that this is going to be a problem forever.
Supervisor Guselak.
So this resolution is just to pay this old bill that we authorized Cooper Engineering to take care of, and we never paid the bill. What about the future work? Are you also asking us for approval on that, or that's coming before you?
Jeff's getting a quote for that.
And then that'll come back to the board to
Correct.
approve?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other concerns? Okay, let's vote.
Gary says yes.
Gary's a yes. Have passed 28-0 with one absent. Thank you. Item number 17, resolution authorizing the transfer of $12,000 from the insurance carryover account / workers' compensation dividend to the employee recognition account. I believe Jeff laid out in our packet what the reasons we're doing this. We're getting this large dividends because of the performance of our employees, and there'll be a lot more dividend than what we're asking for here. That 12,000 is that goes into an account that we kind of smooth over the premiums, because there'll be a day will come when we're going to be paying more workers' comp premium because of things that happen on the job. So is this a new motion? New motion by Supervisor Bob Anderson, seconded by Supervisor Langman to approve this. Is there any questions or concerns? Okay, if not, let's vote.
Gary has one.
Gary? Now you're tipping over, Gary.
You know, on that, having that fund for the ups and downs of the workers' comp, maybe we need to do some actuarial things to see how much we really need in there. Because, workers' comp works on, this system of large claims versus multiple small claims, things like that. And maybe somebody should take a look at how much do we really need in that fund for the ups and downs of our workers' comp.
Well, Wendy has. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, we have an actuary. Her name's Jody. She looks at 6-year history report, and then when we budget, we smooth it out over a 6-year time frame.
And Wendy looks at it pretty good too. She knows all the different categories. It keeps.
And our work comp mod has dropped from 1.28 to 0.77 because we haven't had any claims. So that's $200,000 worth of savings in our work comp bill right out of the chute. So we begin the budget year by knowing we're not going to have to budget for $200,000, which starts the process, which is a major part of this. Jody just takes and smooths this out. And so I think we just trust Jody.
Yeah, we actually get quotes of what it's going to be, but we've also, when this carryover first started, it started as just for workers' comp, but we have opened it up to all of the insurances, because a couple of years ago, remember, we did that appraisal, and because we were significantly undervalued, our rates have went up. We also have boiler insurances at different locations, and, that can vary from year to year. And so it's nice, it's nice to have this. So, if somebody is under budgeted because something happened, that we have a place to go. So it does cover all of our insurances and not just workers' comp.
Seeing no, Gary?
Yeah, 77% experience mod is really low. I think our people try to target 88% or something like that. Do we have a target that we try to shoot for?
I'm going to say no, because the mod factor for us is smoothed out, I believe, over 3 years. It takes, that's a Wendy question, and she's not here. We try, Wendy's been, I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay, let's vote. Okay, it passed by a 2/3 vote of 28 to 0, 1 absent. Thank you. Item number 18, resolution authorizing the purchase of highway department vehicles and equipment for the 2024 budget year. I believe in 2023, we had $1,402,000. There, as Jeff put in the memo, this is for equipment delivery in 2024 to be ordered, delivered and paid for in 24 and ordered in 2023. And that's something we did last year, and it's just a function of supply chain issues that if we don't order it now, we may not get it next year. Motion by Supervisor Gore, seconded by Supervisor Moen. Any questions? Supervisor Guselik?
So this, in a sense, is saying we are approving a budget with this equipment in it before we get to budget approval. Because it's not rescindable, correct?
I would guess that's true, yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, let's vote. Gary's a yes, you get that. Okay, I passed by a 2/3 vote, 26 yes, 2 no, 1 absent.
And the two no were Supervisor Krug and Supervisor Kuselek.
Okay, thank you. Item number 19, resolution, final budget amendments to close the 2022 accounts. Can I get a motion in there? A motion by Supervisor Cook, seconded by Supervisor Buchanan. Any questions on that? That's $37,357 of accounts that were overdrawn, and I believe Jody had it all listed in the. Seeing no questions, let's vote. Okay, that passed by 2/3 vote of 28 yes, 0 no, 1 absent. Thank you. Okay, item number 20, American Rescue Plan ARPA expenditures. Jody had that listed in the packet. Does anybody have any questions on that? Hearing or seeing none, let's go on to item number 21, a report from our county administrator.
Okay, so we'll go through this backwards, actually. So 21E, I just updated, we applied for, actually Dave Armstrong applied for a rather large grant for the housing project on Highway TT, and that was extended through 12/31 of 2023. And I talked to Cedar Corp, and they're the ones overseeing that administratively, and they're happy with the way that's going, and I've signed the second draw request on that. The county email, I put that in the packet. I just want people to understand how hard Lance and company work to keep us from the bad stuff that comes through email. The BEAD grant, I've been talking to Dave Armstrong about that. That was, at this point, he's looking at not taking that because the numbers, the amount of the grant was not as high as what they originally intended. It's only about 18 or 22, up to maybe 22,000 for us. Well, we'd have to take another 30 out of fund balance to get into this, to do the study that's needed for the analysis of where high-speed internet is going or not going, and kind of sort of begs the question, isn't that the telco's company to figure that out? I mean, why are we trying to get into their situation where they're at? So the BEAD grant, that's, as I said, that's something Dave is working on. I want to talk though a little bit about 21B. That's the ATV route map that this county board approved by ordinance. I believe it was a year ago, and we asked that. The green part of that, that's where it's going to be open. And the red is where it's not going to be, and this is based on the feedback from the county board. And you can see the various sections where it just makes sense. You know, we're not going to open up double S for ATVs and UTVs. We're not going to do it, or W for that matter. So this is what is going to happen, where people will scan it with their QCR code and do that.
I believe Supervisor Cook has a question relative to that.
Yes, we, I believe it was last June, July, when we approved this map. I guess, have the signage, are the signs done? When will the signage be in place? Have we marked the spots?
Mac is the man. He's right there. He's going to answer that. Lori's been working on it.
Lori's done an excellent job on this, and he'll be able to answer all your questions.
I don't know about all of them, but I'll do my best. We have 4 groups of signs put up in 4 quadrants of the county is what Lori has laid out. The week of the 24th, we're gonna have 4 separate crews out to do the complete signing of the whole county.
Be done by the end of May?
It will be.
By
End of April, by 1st of May.
Yeah, the 1st of May, because that's when it goes into effect. So everything, they've done an excellent job on reducing the cost. What was it, 70-some thousand down to under 10 or maybe 12. So, and the coordination and the effort put it together by our highway department was just excellent.
Good job. Thank you.
Yep. Supervisor Gores?
I just wanted to know, all the posts are in place now, Mac?
Are the posts all in place, Mac?
What's that?
The posts,
Are
you
all
know,
the posts in place now?
I don't believe all of them are yet, no.
but some of them are. yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if you want me to go through the strategic plan, but I appreciate the great discussion. What I do appreciate about this, the meetings that we did, we had some really serious discussions on, really, we spent a lot of time on supply chain and inflation issues, and that's one of the reasons we have that resolution to forward think and buy some of this equipment, or we're not going to get it. If we don't get out there and make the order now, we'll never have it delivered in 2024 to make it, to pay for it, and then. At that time, we talked a lot about GPS and infrastructure and how that's going to change our work habits. You know, 41% of all people now that working in America can work from home. There's going to be a revolution in working. You know, discuss the aging ADRC breakfast at Lana Cafe and how popular that is. It's just unbelievable. So I don't really have a lot. I appreciate the work that this committee did. It was a really great discussion this year compared to say last year.
It was. Supervisor Efforts?
Yeah, question on, what's the process for changing the mission statement?
Well, you'd reopen the entire plan, and I don't want to do that until we get to the end of 2024 because the statement was developed by taxpayers, employees, department heads, and supervisors. It was brought here. There was 5 different mission statements brought in front of the full board, and the county board voted on the one that they thought most appropriately represented what we're going to do.
Every 5 years, we get a total revamp, and every year in between that, we just update and add to it and look at what's appropriate.
So it can't be changed till next year or 5 years?
When is the 5th year?
2024.
2020, I guess it's next year, yeah.
Okay.
Hang on. Let me look at my notes. $2025, Bill, would be changed.
Thank you.
That it, Jeff?
That's it.
Okay. Item number 22, appointments. Cumberland Library Board, Kristen Hopkins Heil, and ADRC Governing Board, Robert Ludwig. Motion by Supervisor Rogers, second by Supervisor Thompson. Any questions or concerns? If not, let's vote for those appointments. Passed by 28 yes, 0 no, and 1 absent. Claims, petitions, and correspondence. We have none. Suggestions for future agenda items?
Chancellor Smith will be here in May. We'll have appointments to the county, to the municipal library boards, and we'll go through some graphing on expenditures.
Okay. Supervisor Vaughn?
I'm just wondering about, so every year we review the strategic plan. Can the mission statement be reviewed next year when they do that?
Sure, you want to open it all up and go to public hearings and send out and do all that? And does really one word make that big a difference?
Depends what that one word means, I suppose.
Well, it depends on whether you look at it as an adjective or a noun. If it's an adjective, it means happening or developing gradually, moving forward and onward, advancing. If you look at it as a noun, then it takes on more of a political meaning. So, I guess if we want to start putting our
Should we put a verb in
definitions,
parentheses or something?
put whatever you want, but that's, it depends on, every word can be taken and twisted any way you want. So I guess it just depends on how in-depth you want to get, how focused you want to be on that. So
I guess next year, if you feel that way, bring it up and we'll talk about it. Yeah. Okay, anything else?
So the three items that I have, I should say 2 items now, are county board appointments to municipal library boards, and then the 2022 accounts payable expenditure graphs and payroll expenditures, correct?
That'll just be an update, and Chancellor Schmidt will be here on the top of the agenda.
Okay, by unanimous consent, we'll adjourn at 11 o'clock. Thanks, everybody. And the next meeting is May 15th at 7 p.m.